My book is titled Perfectly Unfinished: Finding Beauty in the Midst of Brokenness. And it's just basically my journey growing up in a dysfunctional home, broken. There was a big void of love and nurturing, and I just felt invisible. And that laid a perfect foundation for a lost soul. And I battled eating disorders and just a lot of really hard years in my high school years after my parents had divorced. And it led me down a road of trying to control my environment because I was abandoned, and I was seeking to find some sort of peace, and I found that in eating disorders. And then fast forward, moving to Hollywood, pursuing acting the day after I turned 20, and somehow found myself in the middle of the fairy tale land of the Playboy Mansion, and that was my crowd. And it was a few years in San Diego going to college, and I got the acting bug, and then shortly thereafter, a few years, I moved up to Hollywood to pursue acting, and I somehow fell into these influences and people that looked amazing and incredible, and I was hanging out with celebrities and A-listers, but it was a really awful, lonely, dark place, which led me to a path that was near death. And I hit rock bottom, and ultimately led me to Jesus, and God pulled me out of that path. And that's it. The story is really part of my story, but my heart and my passion is, you think you're going to have it all together once you receive Christ as your Savior. But that's not the case. And I feel like I'm the poster child for the messed up Christian. I don't ever condone sin. God's grace is sufficient, but it's year after year of walking through storms and not knowing how God's going to get you out of it, and surrendering and crying out to God and thinking that, okay, I'm a believer, I'm going to church, I'm in the Word, and I'm praying, and I'm married to a husband who loves God. Life should be good, right? And that's not the case. And 15 years later, being a Christian, through motherhood, through marriage, through parenting, through health problems, I had to fully surrender that I am perfectly unfinished. And it was really hard. And for all the women out there, I want them to know that they don't have to have it all together. I feel like society puts so much pressure on women to have a perfect house, to look perfect, to have a perfect body, to be in shape 4 weeks after you have your baby, and to have the best diaper bag and stroller, and then to have your house look like a model home. And it's just a lot of perfection in society and Instagram world in this generation. And you know what? It messes people up. And it's heartbreaking, because as believers, God's like, that's not what I called you to live. Like, I want you to live through my Spirit, through your suffering. I want you to share your suffering. You're not supposed to isolate. I feel like there's so many people in the Christian world that are suffering, and they're afraid to show it because of some of our human flesh, that we judge each other. And I want to share my story and my pain to help women celebrate their lives and their brokenness, and to know that God meets us in our unfinished places, and there is hope and there is joy in the journey, and we are all a different shade of gray, and we are all going to be messed up. And I just want to fully surrender that, and I want women to find their freedom in their brokenness.